In this video, we're going to look at how to describe the quantitative data. So we have 3 examples to look at, and we're going to go through the SOCs we talked about yesterday. So the first S is shape, outliner, center, and spread. So in the first one we have vineyards. The histogram shows the sizes in acres of 36 vineyards in the Finger Lakes region of New York. Brief description: shape, center, spread, unusual features, which are our outliers. So our first S is shape, and this one starts out tall and becomes much shorter. That's called skewed. So we would say this is skewed right, because the tail's going to the right, and what's doing that is probably this one right here, pulling it that way. It is still unimodal though, so there's one high part. O stands for outliers or unusual features. Well, looks like to me that this is probably an outlier. So we probably have an outlier around 240 acres. And that's true because we also have a gap, right? We have a gap from, if this is 0 to 120 to 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180. So we have a gap from like 180 acres to 240 acres, which means that probably is an outlier. So center, we'll talk more about, but right now the center would probably be in here somewhere. Usually it's towards a higher value, so it probably would be, the center would probably be somewhere between 0 and 30, 0 and 60 acres. So probably actually between around 30 to 60 acres. Usually, think about it, this whole bar here pretty much account for this. So somewhere between 30 to 60, or you could probably say from 0 to 60, the center would be in here somewhere. And then the spread is the range. This is pretty spread out data. It's like it's from 240 to 0, so the range is about 240 acres is the range. Now, you could also say this is 270. You could read that either way. We don't have the actual data, so we're not really sure. Our second example is kind of what we were talking about breakfast cereals. Sugar content, you'll notice that there's pretty much bimodal. So shape, this is bimodal. Not really skewed. You could kind of say it's symmetrical, but it's because it's bimodal. So this shape is bimodal. You might say symmetrical because it's the same on both sides. The left and right are very similar. Center would actually probably be right here in the middle, because these would kind of count out these. So the center would probably be, thought about these, eliminating these, probably somewhere in here between 20 and 32 grams or percent sugar. Maybe somewhere in there. So between 20 to 32 percent of weight. Because we do have bimodal, these would cancel out these, so it would be somewhere here in the middle. Oh, forgot outliers. Doesn't look like anything doesn't really fit. We do have a gap right here. It's not really that big of a deal. We have this one out here. I don't know if it's far enough out to be an outlier. We could say possibly around 60 because of the gap, but probably isn't an outlier. Probably is not far enough out. And then spread looks like we have from 60 to 0. So our range is 60%. We will get more specific about some of these actual numbers. Our last one is a pretty graph. So shape, this would be considered symmetric and unimodal. One high hump, so pretty nice graph. Outliers and gaps, unusual features, looks like there is none. I see nothing unusual, looks pretty good. Center, will probably be in the center here. So probably around 14.5 or so. To 15 would be our center. It's our highest area. And then our spread looks like it's, we called this 18, so 12 to 18 or 17. So our range looks like it's about 6. Since we don't have the actual data, this is more of an estimate. That answer could be 17, just the way the bar works. Okay. So it would be 6 inches. And the center would be between 14.5 and 15 inches. So the range of men's neck sizes is about 6 inches. The center would be somewhere about 14.5 to 5. That's why they would have the most ties in that size. Nothing unusual, and it's fairly symmetric. It is kind of important that you should go back to the content of the question. So you do want to include like inches, percent, whatever the question is actually about. Use the content in your statement. Okay. Don't forget you have other things to be working on. I've given you, left you a sheet that tells you everything you need to be doing.